When it's Roger Federer's service game, he wins 89% of the time. That's one of the highest service game win rates in tennis history, edging out almost every other great in the sport. And most of us already know about his 20 career Grand Slams and 103 titles, so the real question becomes, is this statistic and his epic career milestones enough to earn him the title of tennis's GOAT? To answer this question, we will work through each of our 5 athlete categories to ultimately score Roger out of 10 and see where he lands on the ATHLT scoreboard. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we can keep scoring athletes. In tennis, every point is a battle. Federer himself once said that in his 1,526 singles matches, he only won 54% of the points, where the average for top players is about 50%. Now, while that win percentage might seem low, it does transfer to one of the highest overall win rates in tennis. Federer has won 82% of all his matches, which is an incredible achievement, but there are quite a few players that surpass him in this regard. We can break down this win rate further by looking at his success across different surfaces. Here it is clear that clay courts are Roger's weakness, but hard and grass courts are where he shines, and he's iconically known as the king of grass. We can prove this by isolating his grass win rate and comparing it to others, and his win rate here is one of the highest we have ever seen in men's grass court history. Anyways, tennis skills are judged on more than just overall winning statistics. So when we drill down deeper into specific tennis capabilities, such as looking at his serving capacity, the average number of aces per match is a good statistic to look into. Here we can see that Roger might not be the best in terms of being a pure power server like Roddick or Sampras, but he is the best when compared to other icons who have played and won at a similar level to him. Now, it wouldn't feel right to wrap up this section without diving into what really makes Federer Federer. Because beyond the wins, beyond the records, there's his playstyle, the reason why so many call him the artist of tennis. And here's the thing, it's not just a vibe, the data backs it up. Most players generate a forehand spin between 2,700 and 3,000 RPM, but Federer, he controls his spin from as low as 900 RPM all the way up to 3,500 RPM. That's one of the widest control spin ranges we've ever seen. And his single-handed backhand is so technically refined it can exceed his forehand in topspin revolutions, which is incredibly rare. But it's all not just about spin. Roger varies both his shot trajectory and his placement on the court more frequently than most players on tour, breaking the rhythm more regularly than most. Now let's combine that with his movement. Federer moves laterally 17% faster than the average pro, and he takes 32% fewer steps per point than average. All of this adds up to what makes him feel so effortless, smooth, and artistic. So at the end of the day, Federer is right up there among the best in every major skill category. But aside from his incredible service game win percentage, he's not technically the top in any one area. There are other players who edge him out in certain raw metrics while still maintaining elite status across the board. So that's the paradox with Federer. The numbers alone don't crown him the GOAT. They come close, but they don't quite push him over the line. What they do show is that he's still one of the most technically gifted and aesthetically brilliant players the sport has ever seen. And while he's nearly perfect in skill and technique, the raw data does hold him back a bit. He scores a 9 here. Tennis is brutal on the body. Power, speed, and endurance aren't optional, they're essential. And when we break Federer down across these categories, we start to get a clearer picture of his physical profile. Let's start with power. One of the best ways to measure this is average forehand speed, and here, Federer doesn't exactly top the charts. His average sits at around 75 miles per hour, which is respectable, sure, but noticeably behind the heavy hitters of the game. When it comes to speed, Roger starts to pull ahead. He's deceptively fast, clocking sprint speeds of up to 20 miles per hour, which is faster than your average ATP pro. Add to that his explosive leg drive, and you've got a player who can reach just about any ball and do it with time to spare. Still, while he's fast, he doesn't quite crack the list of the absolute speed demons in the sport. Now let's talk about endurance. Federer's VO2 max puts him above most in terms of cardiovascular fitness, but here's an interesting catch. In 5-set matches, he wins just 58% of the time. That's solid, but when you stack it up against Djokovic at 78% or Nadal at an insane 88%, it becomes clear that endurance isn't Roger's strong suit. He's fit, but in the deepest battles, others have the edge. Overall, it's pretty interesting when you zoom out on Federer's physical profile. He's not off the charts in any one category. He's not the strongest, not the fastest, and not the most enduring. But he's better than average, that's for sure. And in some areas, he's on the edge of the elite group, but physicality clearly isn't what defines his greatness. What Federer does instead is weaponize his technique, and as you'll see in the next section, what really sets him apart is what's going on in his head. But when it comes to raw physical toughness, Federer earns a 7.5. Okay, next up, Headspace. Part of the reason why Federer is referred to the artist is because of his game IQ. Federer plays smart, really smart. Remember how we mentioned he takes fewer steps per point than most pros? That's not luck or laziness, that's supreme anticipation. Now let's see how that translates when pressure hits its peak. Grand Slam finals. Federer has a win percentage of around 65% in major finals. That's one of the highest in men's tennis history. I mean, these are some of the highest pressure matches against some of the best pressure playing opponents, and time after time, Federer shows up. But let's go even deeper and look at tiebreaks, the most high stakes, no margin for error moments in the match. And again, Federer shines. His tiebreak win rate is around 65%. That's elite, and to maintain that across over 1,500 games is nothing short of insane. We also looked at unforced errors, which are essentially just lapses in mental focus where emotions or nerves take over. But for Federer, he's nearly spotless. He has some of the lowest unforced errors per match ever recorded. That kind of consistency under pressure is rare. Of course, no one is perfect. There are moments like having a low break point conversion rate in certain finals or the occasional struggles to close out on championship points. But even with those small blemishes, his mental game is rock solid. His composure, intelligence, and focus place him firmly among the mentally toughest to ever do it. For Headspace, he scores a 9.5. Now let's talk longevity, because greatness isn't just about hitting a peak, it's about staying there. We tracked Federer's career by averaging his win rate every few years, and over a span of more than 20 years, what stands out is how long he's managed to stay elite. Yes, in his later years we saw a dip with injuries creeping, competition arguably getting tougher, and time, as always, did its thing, but still, the consistency is impressive. One thing I did want to flag is when we zoom in on the peak from 2004 to 2007, Federer wasn't just great, he was untouchable. During that stretch of time, he racked up 315 wins to just 24 losses. That's a 93% win rate. And he also snagged 42 titles in that window alone. That's 41% of his entire career title haul packed into just 4 years. Now, there's an argument that Bjorn Borg's legendary run from 1977 to 1980 might rival this, and honestly it's a fair comparison, but we won't go into too much detail there. But what we do know is that Federer's 4-year dominance here redefined what a modern peak could look like. And even if Federer didn't have the absolute best year-by-year win rates across his whole career, the sheer volume of his success speaks for itself. He won 103 career titles, which is the second most in the Open era. And to put that in perspective, there are top-tier players whose entire careers don't match the number of titles Roger collected in just a single year. Arguably, he has one of the longest and most incredible peaks in tennis history, combining extended prime and graceful decline. I think he's just short of perfect here, but damn is he close. He scores a 9.5. Okay, we know he's going to smash this section, so let's make it quick. Throughout Federer's whole career, he has won 20 Grand Slam singles titles, ranking him 6th of all time amongst men and women. He has 103 ATP singles titles, which is the second most in the Open era, and he has held the world #1 ranking for 310 weeks, including 237 consecutive weeks, which is the 5th most of all time. And then, he is also one of the few tennis players to have achieved the career Grand Slam. On top of all these milestones, he still holds many records, such as being the only male player to win 5 consecutive US Opens, and to this day, he still has the most Wimbledon wins in men's tennis. Overall, Federer's trophy haul and records place him firmly among the very greatest in tennis history. When it comes to the Big Four and holding the #1 position, yeah, sure, you can say he might not be the greatest there, but I mean, he's essentially top 5 ever. And when it comes to titles specifically, he's effectively the best, really showing breadth of achievement in tennis across the entire calendar year. He scores a 9.5 here. So is Roger Federer the GOAT? Well, when looking at all these numbers, I don't think he is. But Federer is one of those athletes where greatness isn't measured solely by numbers. Those of us who are lucky enough to witness him at his peak know that what set him apart wasn't just his wins, but the way he played. His fluid footwork, his elegant shot making, and the sheer artistry of his movement made every point feel like a performance. Yes, time will gradually dull his records, but Roger's legacy lives in the memory of how tennis looked when he played it. He made the game beautiful. He may not finish with fancy records such as the most Grand Slam wins, but to many, he will always be the GOAT. So with all scores considered, this gives Roger a total athlete score of 9, putting him within the top 5 of the ATHLT scoreboard for now. Anyways, if you're a fan of other tennis legends, we have made videos on Serena Williams and Coco Gauff, which should pop up on the screen now. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to ace that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell notification so we can keep scoring athletes. I'm also interested to hear your thoughts, so be sure to leave a comment as well. Anyways, thanks for watching, team. Catch you at the next one.